Panipat should have ended the Maratha Empire. It did. How did the Marathas rise again after the worst defeat in Indian history? Why did ambition and jealousy turn Pune into a city of conspiracy and murder? And how did one treaty sell India to the British Empire?
Pune was in shambles again. The thriving metropolis Nana Sahib had built was bleeding dry after Nizam's brutal loot. And into the storm walked a new Peshwa at just 16 years old, Madhavrao Rao. The weight of the entire Maratha Empire on the shoulders of a teenage boy. But how do you recover from such devastation? How do you rebuild trust, power and glory?
Madhavrao's answer was disciplined. Pious, sharp, and unflinching, he brought back order with policies and with fear.
Now, there is one particular example of Madhavrao that I would like to mention here. So, during Madhavrao's time, his own uncle Madhavrao Raste basically helped Nizam burn Pune city, right? And Madhavrao decided to punish his own uncle. Now, Madhavrao's mother Gopika Bai, she decided to stop Madhavrao on his own decisions. And he told his mother that I'll not change the decision which has been given by my court. But Gopika Bai was also adamant. He told Madhavrao, if you don't change your decision, I'll relocate from Pune to Nashik. I'll never come to Pune city ever in my life. But Madhavrao never changed the decision.
Soon, powerful Sardars like Holkar, Shinde, Gaikwad, and brains like Nana Fadnavis were rallying behind him. With order came trade, with trade came money, with money came power. New pates rose, commerce flowed, and Pune's pulse slowly started returning. And then came the campaigns. In the north, Mahadji Shinde crushed resistance and Delhi was back under Maratha control. In the south, Madhavrao himself led the charge, silencing the Nizam, clawing back every lost inch. It was nothing short of a miracle. From ruins to resurgence, the empire was alive again. But just when it all seemed perfect, there was one man who wasn't happy with Madhavrao's rise. And he was plotting in the corners of Madhavrao's very own home.
So Raghuba Dada was a brother of Nana Sahib. But Raghuba, even though he was a good warrior, even though he was a fierce warrior, he was not an able administrator. At the same time, he was also ambitious. He wanted throne of Peshwa to be awarded to him. But to gain that particular throne, he was ready to go to any extent. He also performed some tantric things in Shaniwarwada. Now there was a Tandav Ganesh. Tandav Ganesh means idol of Ganpati in a dancing form. It was a tantric puja which was performed by Raghuba Dada in order to harm his own relative Madhavrao. He didn't have the courage or didn't have the qualities to support that ambition.
Madhavrao was able to deal with most of the challenges posed to him. It felt like the Maratha Empire was finally getting its rhythm back. However, destiny had other plans for the Peshwas. Just 11 years into his term, Madhavrao contracted tuberculosis. On his way to yet another campaign in the south, his body finally gave up. But right before the end, there was one unforgettable night.
Madhavrao, weak but unwavering, summoned his uncle. Under the gaze of God, he made him swear to protect his younger brother, Narayan Rao, the boy who would inherit the position of Peshwa. The oath was taken. And then history took a turn no one would have predicted.
Narayan Rao became a Peshwa at the age of 17, almost the same age as his legendary brother. However, Narayan Rao was not Madhavrao. Yes, he was bold and determined. However, he was also hot-headed, impatient and easy to offend. He openly clashed with senior powerful courtiers like Nana Fadnavis and Sakaram Bapu. The very people that could have secured his position walked away, leaving the young Peshwa dangerously exposed. And watching all this silently was his regent Raghunath Rao, and he was waiting for exactly this to happen.
The empire was broke, the army restless, and one group in particular, the Gardis, were furious. These were mercenaries, not loyalists, composed mostly of non-Marathis. Fighting was their business, not their cause. And they hadn't been paid in months. No one in court cared enough to fix it. Raghunath Rao saw his chance. Sent for the Gardi chief Sumer Singh, his message was simple.
Help me remove Narayan Rao, and the reward will be yours.
30th August 1773. The unspeakable happened inside Shaniwar Wada. The Gardi soldiers stormed in like a pack of wolves looking for the Peshwa. Narayan Rao ran. Arguably the most powerful man in India was being hunted throughout his own palace by his own soldiers. His cry echoed through the stone walls. He burst into his uncle Raghunath Rao's chambers, begging for mercy. But Raghunath Rao, deep in worship, turned away. And then Sumer Singh's blade fell, hack after hack. The boy Peshwa was butchered in his own home. That night, Pune drowned in tears of blood. And within a few months, Raghunath Rao stepped over his nephew's corpse and sat on the Gadi as the new Peshwa.
It was through this door behind me that the decapitated body of Narayan Rao was carried away from Shaniwar Wada. By hook or by crook, he had done it. Raghunath Rao was now Peshwa. But power stolen in blood never rests easy. The palace had become a nest of parasites. His own courtiers dictating terms, the Gardi soldiers whispering threats that you too could be disposed of next just as easily. The core of the empire was rotting. Yet in this decay, one person refused to bend. His courageous actions would alter the course of history once again.
He was Ram Shastri, the fearless Chief Justice of the Maratha Empire. For 6 weeks, he dug deep into the murder of young Narayan Rao. He went to unimaginable extent, uncovering the darkest layers of this conspiracy. Raghunath Rao tried everything: bribery, pressure, slander, even the killing of his own hitman Sumer Singh. But nothing could stop the verdict. Ram Shastri declared that the Peshwa himself was guilty, deserving nothing less than death. Although Shastri was sacked soon after the verdict, people now knew the truth. And when the people rise, the authority trembles. The stage was set for something bigger. From this storm, the Barabhai Council was born. 12 of the most powerful Maratha Sardars led by the razor-sharp Nana Fadnavis. They protected Narayan Rao's pregnant widow Gangabai, and when her son Madhavrao II was born, they had the rightful heir. They deposed Raghunath Rao and placed a barely 40-day-old on the seat of Peshwa with Nana Fadnavis as his regent. The empire had hope again.
But Raghunath Rao wasn't finished. His last desperate gamble would drag the Marathas into an intricate web of alliances, betrayals, and war, which would mark the beginning of their downfall.
Raghunath Rao had signed a treaty with the British for their protection, recognition, and assistance. This brought the British directly in conflict with the Maratha Empire. Very soon, this tension turned into a war. And in the chaos that followed, the Maratha Empire needed a savior. Enter the old war horse, Mahadji Shinde. relentless on the battlefield, sharp in strategy, he gave the British a run for their money. Alongside Nana Fadnavis, the master diplomat, the impossible was pulled off. The British were forced to taste defeat in the First Anglo-Maratha War. But with the British juggernaut rolling over kingdoms everywhere, peace was nothing more than a ticking time bomb. Then came the gut punch. In 1794, Mahadji Shinde died. Just a year later, another tragedy struck Shaniwarwada.
When Savai Madhavrao was, I guess, 4 or 5 years old, Nana Fadnavis decided that, we should bring Savai Madhavrao to the Shaniwarwada and we should appoint someone to look after his upbringing, right? Now, we have letters which have been written by the person who was appointed as a caretaker of Savai Madhavrao, basically. In one particular letter, Savai Madhavrao has ordered his servants to bring the cub of tiger and puppy of a deer, and he wanted to have the fight between two cubs. So this is how Savai Madhavrao used to spend time in the Shaniwarwada. You are just living like a rich brat kid, and you are not having the authority to take decisions. Many people who were living surrounding of Savai Madhavrao, they started complaining Savai Madhavrao that, look, Nana Fadnavis is the single person who is taking all the decisions, and despite you having the Peshwas, you have not having the rights to take any decisions at all. And this is the time when quarrels started happening between Savai Madhavrao and Nana Fadnavis. But when he was sleeping in the Satkhani building, he suddenly blacked out and he fell on the 7th house in Shaniwarwada.
Bajirao II, the son of Raghunath Rao, became the next Peshwa. Forever tainted by his father's crime, to the people, he was the murderer's son. To Nana Fadnavis, he was just a puppet.
And obviously Nana Fadnavis, because of the entire history of Raghoba, he didn't appointed anyone to look after the upbringing of Bajirao. Political scenario in India, you have the Peshwa who is not willing to rule or who is not able to rule. You have the Peshwa who is not willing to work for the country.
As if Pune's mess was not enough, the drama in the Maratha Confederacy was reaching daily soap levels. When Daulat Rao Shinde of Gwalior came to power and became a close ally of Nana's, it sparked fury in Yashwantrao Holkar of Indore. Under Nana's leadership, however, no infighting was allowed. But times were delicate and Bajirao II was not only growing impatient but was tired of being overshadowed. He joined hands with Nana's enemies and sowed seeds of confusion in already insecure Sardars. So much so that Nana's closest ally Shinde turned against him. In a coordinated effort with Bajirao II, he arrested Nana Fadnavis. The power dynamics were turning upside down and thus began the final chapter in Pune's glorious years.
Soon after Nana Fadnavis's fall, Shinde grabbed control of the court. His rivalry with Holkar now turned bloody as his forces sacked Indore, Holkar's capital. To exact revenge, Holkar planned to do the unthinkable: attack Pune itself, the very heart of the Maratha power. In 1802, his army clashed with the combined forces of Shinde and the Peshwas at Hadapsar, resulting in absolute carnage. Bajirao II, the Peshwa, fled for his life. Holkar made Bajirao II's adopted brother Amrut Rao the Peshwa. Cornered and desperate, Bajirao II turned to the British East India Company at Vasai. The deal he struck was pure betrayal. They would reinstall him as Peshwa, but only as their puppet. With one signature, Pune, once the powerhouse of the subcontinent, was reduced to a pawn on the British chessboard.
The betrayal lit a fire within the Maratha Sardars. For once, all of them united against Bajirao II and the company, thus starting the Second Anglo-Maratha War. However, against the British guns, discipline and money, they did not stand a chance. Slowly, one by one, the Holkars, the Shindes and the others succumbed in this war. Bajirao II sat in Pune as the Peshwa, but only nominally. But this man was not done yet. The cunning, cruel, and slippery person that he had already started plotting, but this time not against the Marathas, but against the British themselves. Pune was about to witness his last and his darkest gamble.